What's happening, good people? Welcome to the channel. I'm Wes, aka Mr. Budget Watch, and today we have Watch Wars episode 5. So we're going to be comparing the Casioak Mini against the classic square DW5600. Now this is kind of a comparison just to see which one of these would be right for you. So before we actually get into it, just wanted to say thank you to Troy again for letting me borrow this to feature on the channel. You can find him on YouTube at The Bold Watch Collector, so definitely give him a subscribe if you don't already. Before we get started, quick wristwatch check. I'm actually wearing the Draco London. Very, very cool chronograph. You can see all the content on the channel about this watch. So let's get started and do the comparison. So if you've not seen Watch Wars before, there's 10 categories, 10 points per category, and the winner is obviously the one with the most points at the end. So we're going to start with design, and both of them score a 7 to get started with. And the reason why they both score 7 is, well, because they're very, very cool watches, but different. So the Casioak Mini is newer, obviously, and I would say it's a little bit more fashion forward. It's not so much a fashion watch, but it's definitely more fashionable in a sense. It's a little bit more modern in its design. So you can see this is, like an, I don't know if it's like an octagon, hexagon, or whatever it is. But yeah, it's a really, really cool watch. They also do a larger version if you do want to look at that. All the features are the same, just this one is a little bit smaller. And then we obviously have the classic square DW5600, an icon really, isn't it? I mean, it's one of the staples of the G-Shock lineup, whereas this is one of the more newer iterations of G-Shock. So design wise, they're very, very different watches, but both have their place. And this one is, you kind of can just forget the points for this one. It's all about personal preference. Do you prefer the classic square or the more fashion forward newer Casioak Mini? It's just down to personal preference. This one's a little bit more tough and rugged. This one's a little bit more, like I said, fashion forward and a little bit more trendy looking. But both of them, look absolutely awesome, which is why they score the same. There's nothing to differentiate them really. Just depends on which style you actually prefer. So moving on to build and finish, and you can see the DW5600 takes a narrow win, and the reason why this takes a narrow win is just because it feels a little bit better finished. Now, I've got nothing against the Casioak. It's a very, very well put together watch, but I did notice that the actual case itself feels a little bit cheaper than this one, even though it's got the it's the same resin case and it has the carbon core guard. The outer resin just feels a little bit sort of rougher, whereas this one is really nice and smooth and just feels a little bit sort of softer to the touch, and it just gives it a little bit more of a premium feel, even though it's the cheaper of the two. So this is about 56 quid and this one is 100. This one just feels a little bit better put together. It feels a little bit more solid. It's got a little bit more weight to it. So yeah, even though it's a cheaper watch, it just feels a little bit more well put together. We've also got metal buttons as well, whereas this one has plastic. So yeah, narrow win for the DW5600, but this is a really well built watch. This is just ever so slightly better. Moving on to the next category, and it's again a narrow win for the DW5600. The reason why this one only scores 4, as you'll see in my review, this resin strap is not that good. It's a little bit rigid and a little bit hard, and it's not all that comfortable, which will be the next category. But yeah, not a good strap. There's plenty of adjustment holes though, which is a really big plus. It'll fit a wide range of wrist sizes, but the strap quality is just not that good. Also, we've got this really hard plastic floating keeper and an unsigned cheap plastic buckle. The DW5600 also has a resin strap, but this one just feels a little bit nicer. It's a little bit softer, a little bit more flexible, a little bit more playable. We still have those annoying ridges on the inside, which is why it only scores 5. But yeah, the strap is just ever so slightly better. It's just, like I said, a little bit softer, a little bit more playable. We've also got a metal buckle instead of a plastic one. So yeah, that's why it just scores an extra point. Moving on to comfort, And you can see again, it's a narrow win for the 5600. So we'll start with this one first. And the reason why this one scores 5.5 is because the watch body itself is very, very comfortable. Really nice on wrist. It's just let down again by the hard plastic feeling strap. This one scores a little bit better because, like I said, that strap is a little bit softer. It feels nicer against your wrist, as does the watch body. It's really nice and comfortable. It's got a really good form factor, and it just fits so nice on wrist. Like I said, the strap is a little bit better quality as well, but it only scores a 7 because of those ridges. Even though it's more comfortable than the Mini Oak, it's still not the most comfortable of watches to wear. So then we get on to the illumination, and well, both of them have got really good illumination. So this one has a dual illumination system, whereas this one's got a full screen illumination. So this one uses a single white LED, and it also has lume. This one just has a full backlight illumination, which is green. And both of them, are really good in different ways. So this one, like I said, has lume, but the reason why it didn't score higher is because the lume isn't very good on the hands, unfortunately. But it goes highlight for the actual LED used. It's really bright, and it looks really nice as well. And I just love how it catches those polished indices, which I mentioned in my review. This one, has a really bright illumination in low light situations, just to make it a little bit easier to read. And yeah, it does work very, very well. Not the best illumination out there, but it is still good. So both of them score exactly the same. They approach it a little bit differently, but it both works very, very well in low light situations. So now we get on to features, and the Mini Oak wins its first category. And this one wins because it just has more features. It's got a couple extra features, a couple of extra alarms, and it just has, like I said, more features than the older model. So this one does obviously use an older module, which is why it's not as feature packed as this one. So yes, the features work excellent on both watches. This one just has a few more of them. So yeah, if you want features, then this is the model to go for. This one's got your basic features, but the Oak Mini just, like I said, has a few more up its sleeve. So now we get on to water resistance, and you can see both tied at 7 points apiece, and that is because both of them have 200 meters of water resistance, which is really, really impressive. So looking at the case back, you can see it is screw in, and it is also screw in, but yet both of them managed to have a 200 meters of water resistance, which is very, very impressive. So whichever one of these watches you go for, you could go swimming with either one of them, which is really, really impressive. So that's why they both score exactly the same, because they're both 200 meters. So next up is availability, and the DW5600 wins again, and that is because this one is available in a few more places. So you can obviously buy it on places like Amazon, eBay, and there's loads of other watch stores that sell it as well. This one is available as well via Casio, and also a few other places as well, but it doesn't seem to be as widely available as this one. This one just seems to be available in a few more stores, whereas this one isn't. That may change in the future, but this one is a little bit easier to get a hold of. You can buy them from loads of different places, which is why it just scores a narrow victory, just because, like I said, it's a little bit easier to get a hold of. Then we get to the brand, and obviously there's no difference between them. They're both Casios. In my opinion, the best digital watches on the planet, in my opinion. You can disagree if you want, but Casio make the best digital watches ever. That's just my opinion. But anyway, yeah, the brand, if you're looking at a digital watch, 9 out of 10 people are going to recommend a Casio to you. And, there's a good reason for that. They're reliable, they're affordable, they're really well made, got tons of features, and they just work in loads of different environments. You can proper beat these, and it'll still keep working. And it's the same with this one. Even though this one isn't as beater looking as this one, it can still take some punishment and keep ticking and keep working. So that's why they've got a good reputation, and that's why they've got 9 points, because the brand is just the best in the business. The final category, price. Now this one, like I mentioned already, is £99. And I think, like I said in my review, that it's a decent price. It's not an amazing price, but it is a good price. I don't know what that was. Apologies for that. Something just beeped at me. But anyway, Like I said, £99 is a decent price, but it's not amazing. This one is obviously anywhere between sort of 50 odd quid to around £70 depending on the seller. I picked mine up off eBay and got it for under £50. So yeah, I was really pleased with that, and it was brand new, boxed, papers, everything. So depending on where you get it from, you can get a really good bargain, but I just averaged it out at 8 because it's like it fluctuates between sellers. So yeah, but you can find these all day for around 50 odd quid, which is a really, really good price. So it could have actually scored a little bit better on price, but obviously, like I said, with it averaging out, it does tend to be a little bit more, but it's still a really good price. And they're really, really available at that price too, if you look hard enough. So now we get on to the final score, and you can see it is a little win for the Classic. So this is still the king of affordable Casios, the 5600, and but again, a lot of this is personal preference. I just prefer this one because it's got a better strap, it's a little bit better made, and it just suits my personality and my style a little bit more. Obviously, you might disagree down in the comments. I mean, this one, yes, is a little bit newer, a little bit, I wouldn't say it's nicer looking. It's, like I said, it's a little bit more fashionable, tailored, I would say, to a more younger crowd, but it's still far superior in terms of technology compared to this one. This is a little bit like a dinosaur, whereas this one's got a lot more features. But yeah, both of these are really, really good watches. And again, it's all down to personal preference. This is, you don't have to take this seriously at all. Just pick whichever you prefer, and either way, you're getting a cracking watch. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any uploads. And of course, follow me on social media at Mr. Budget Watch. Thanks again. I'll see you soon.